The government of Burkina Faso recently achieved a national triumph by rescuing two abducted lawyers in a Hollywood-style fashion. Is this merely a showy diversion or an indication of their counterinsurgency skills? Traoré is helping Africa help itself. Consider this. Two well-known attorneys disappear from the unstable areas of Burkina Faso. As the clock runs out, the nation holds its breath. President Ibrahim Traoré's army launch a spectacular rescue operation when the media goes into a frenzy and speculation runs wild. As Traoré revels in his newfound fame, the country bursts in cheers. Here's the worst part, though. This feel-good narrative hides geopolitical manipulation and propaganda behind. Not just in the Sahel, but all throughout Africa, Burkina Faso is causing a stir. President Ibrahim Traoré is changing the narrative in a time when Western narratives frequently depict African countries as reliant or unstable. The recent bold rescue of two well-known attorneys who had been detained by militants for almost a month represents not just a win for African leadership, tenacity, and inventiveness, but also a victory for insurgents. Let's be clear. Saving lives wasn't the only goal here. It was a declaration. Burkina Faso's courageous leadership under Traoré sends a statement to the world that the country will not play a role in another person's geopolitical game. African countries have been undervalued for far too long, with Western powers viewing the continent as a never-ending catastrophe that requires outside help. This event demonstrates that Africa is more than capable of resolving its issues on own terms. Consider it. These militants believed they could upend Burkina Faso and disturb its foundation since they were purportedly connected to the international insurgency network. They misjudged the determination of a country that has endured economic exploitation, colonization, and now fresh round of outside pressures. It was a statement that Burkina Faso, and consequently Africa, would not be intimidated. In order to preserve its sovereignty, Traoré's administration has been making significant investments to bolster its military capabilities, not as a show of power. African security challenges have often been presented by Western narratives as problems that call for outside assistance. However, Traoré is demonstrating to the rest of the world that Africa can and will stand alone. He is establishing a new benchmark for African independence by carrying out this rescue effort without pleading for outside assistance. Let's examine why this is significant outside of Burkina Faso's boundaries, though. This tragedy serves as a microcosm of the larger African independence movement. Western countries frequently intervene with ostensible aid and support, although these are typically accompanied by conditions, strings that have the power to stifle a country's independence. This paradigm is being rejected by Traoré. He's fighting dangers on African territory by investing in indigenous expertise, training local forces, and developing domestic solutions, rather than waiting for foreign powers to dictate terms. Burkina Faso's strategy is catching on throughout the continent for a reason. Traoré's acts are reminiscent of the time when African leaders such as Thomas Sankara promoted independence and unity among Africans. The revolutionary leader of Burkina Faso, Sankara, is renowned for advocating for Africa to take back control of its own future. In many respects, Traoré is continuing the tradition. He is sending a statement to the entire continent by putting national security first, in addition to defending Burkina Faso's borders. Africa's issues can be resolved without the help of outside forces.